On a warm afternoon at the park, amidst the joyful laughter of children, 8-year-old Logan sits quietly in his wheelchair, his eyes reflecting a deep, unspoken sorrow. Suddenly, a mysterious golden retriever named Bella appears, barking persistently as if trying to reveal a secret meant only for him. Her eerie behavior transforms the tranquil scene into one filled with tension, leaving his parents panicked and on edge, as if something extraordinary is about to unfold. Before continuing the story, tell me which city you're watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. Thank you. The afternoon was warm, filled with dry leaves dancing in the wind, scattered across the park's ground. Children laughed and shouted on the swings and slides, while distracted parents chatted on the benches. However, for 8-year-old Logan, life seemed to have lost its sound. Stuck in his wheelchair since the accident, he stared at the ground, avoiding the chaos around him. His blue plaid jacket seemed too big for his thin body, and his once curious light eyes now reflected something close to resignation. His parents, Olivia and Jacob, watched the scene with heavy hearts. Jacob crossed his arms, trying to hide his anguish, while Olivia made an effort to keep her voice cheerful. "Logan, look at the kids on the swing. Want to go see?" But the question hung in the air, unanswered. Logan simply spun the wheel of his chair away from her, his expression as hard as stone. Suddenly, the silence was broken by an unexpected sound, a loud and persistent bark. Everyone in the park turned to see where it was coming from, and that's when Olivia saw it. A golden retriever came running, its golden fur shining in the late afternoon sun. But there was something unusual about the way the dog advanced straight, determined, as if it had a purpose. "Bella," someone murmured in the background, but the dog ignored everyone, running toward Logan. When Bella stopped suddenly just a few feet from the boy, she began barking nonstop, each sound echoing like a warning cry. Logan's eyes widened as he recoiled in his chair, while Olivia and Jacob ran to protect him. "Stay away from him," Jacob shouted, raising his hands, trying to push the animal away. But Bella didn't back down. Her eyes locked onto Logan in a way that almost seemed human, filled with something that looked like desperation. She wasn't barking out of aggression, but as if begging for attention. Logan started to tremble, tears welling up in his eyes. "What does she want from me?" he asked, his voice choking. Olivia hugged him tightly, but she felt a shiver run down her spine. There was something in the dog's eyes, something almost impossible to describe. It was then that Logan, sobbing, slowly lifted one of his trembling hands toward Bella. Everyone in the park froze, as if the world had come to a halt. Bella stepped forward, stopped barking, and tilted her head slightly. The silence was absolute, but the tension hung in the air, suffocating. And then, just as Logan's fingertips were about to touch the dog's head, she let out a low sound, almost a whimper, and looked at him as if she wanted to say something no one else could hear. Bella seems to know something about Logan that no one there understands, but her unusual behavior sparks a mystery that promises to shake the family's life forever. What is the dog trying to reveal? Curious to find out what happens next? Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to follow the unfolding of this emotional story. Logan pulled his hand back at the last second, hesitant. Bella remained still, her eyes fixed on the boy, as if she were trying to convey a message that couldn't be put into words. Olivia held her son's shoulders, feeling his small body trembling beneath her hands. Jacob, still wary, took a step forward, trying to push the dog away with a firm gesture. "Go on, girl. We don't want any trouble." But Bella stayed where she was, like a statue on watch, and responded with a low, prolonged bark that sounded more like a warning. "She doesn't seem dangerous," Olivia whispered, more to herself than to her husband. There was something intriguing in the dog's expression, a mix of sadness and urgency. Bella never took her eyes off Logan, as if she saw something no one else could. Jacob shook his head, still skeptical. "This is crazy. It's just any dog." But at that moment, Bella took a step back, slowly turned, and began walking toward the playground, looking back every now and then, as if she wanted someone to follow her. Logan surprised his parents by speaking up. "She wants me to go with her," he said. His voice weak but filled with an inexplicable certainty, Olivia and Jacob exchanged a worried glance. "That's ridiculous, Logan." "It's just a coincidence," Jacob replied, trying to keep logic intact in a situation that no longer made sense. But Olivia noticed something different in her son. For the first time in months, he seemed interested. "Maybe we should see where she's going," she suggested hesitantly, feeling deep down that this dog wasn't here by accident. Reluctantly, the three followed Bella, who continued walking with determination. She led them to a more secluded corner of the park, where the trees began to form a natural barrier. The laughter of children and the chatter of adults faded into the background, and the predominant sound was the crunch of dry leaves under the careful steps of the family. Bella suddenly stopped in front of an old wooden bench, already worn down by time. She looked at the ground, dug a little with her paws, then turned back to face Logan. "Why is she digging there?" Jacob asked, looking around as if expecting to find an obvious explanation. But Logan, with his heart racing, felt something different. There was a connection he couldn't explain, a silent call coming from the dog. He gripped the wheelchair's wheel and asked his parents to help him get closer. Reluctantly, Jacob pushed the chair to the spot Bella indicated. When Logan got close, Bella lay down beside the bench and let out a low sound, almost a whimper. Olivia felt a tightness in her chest, while Jacob looked uncomfortable. "This doesn't make sense," he murmured. But before anyone could say anything more, Logan pointed to something stuck in the ground, between the leaves and the loose soil. It was a small wooden box, aged and covered in moss. Bella barked again, as if encouraging the boy to open it. What could be inside? Inside the box, something would be revealed, a secret that seemed connected to Logan's past, and Bella somehow knew it needed to be brought to light. But what will this discovery mean for the family? Logan stared at the small wooden box with wide eyes. The weathered wood was cracked in some places, and the moss covering it was damp and dark, as if it had been there for years. Bella stood beside him, alternating her gaze between the box and the boy, her breathing heavy as if she was anxiously waiting for him to take action. Olivia knelt beside her son, hesitant, while Jacob nervously looked around. "This doesn't feel right. It's just trash." "Let's go," he said, his voice filled with discomfort. "No, Dad, I want to open it," Logan replied firmly, surprising everyone. It was the first time since the accident that he seemed determined to do something on his own. Jacob opened his mouth to protest, but Olivia placed her hand on his arm. "Let him try," she whispered, sensing a strange feeling that this moment was important. Logan stretched out his trembling hands and, with effort, touched the box. The smell of earth flooded his nose as he pulled it closer. The rusty hinges let out a sharp, metallic sound when Logan managed to open it. Inside, there was something unexpected, a small, slightly dented golden pendant attached to a chain. Next to the pendant, a faded photo, almost unrecognizable, showed a woman holding a baby in her arms. The woman's face looked familiar, but not enough to be immediately recognized. Bella gave a short, low bark, as if saying, "Go on." Olivia took the medallion in her hands and opened it, revealing something engraved inside. The date, July 15th, 2015, and the initials JM. Logan leaned forward, examining the inscription, his heart racing. "This date, it's the day I was born," he murmured. Olivia and Jacob exchanged a surprised look, as if they were trying to process what this meant. But before anyone could speak, Logan pointed to the photo. "This woman, she looks like you, Mom. Who is she?" Olivia carefully held the photo, her fingers trembling slightly. A look of shock crossed her face, but she quickly hid it, trying to cover it up in front of Logan. "I don't know, dear. Maybe it's just a coincidence," she said, but her voice was strangely quiet. Jacob furrowed his brow, crossing his arms. "Olivia, what's going on? Do you recognize her?" he asked more forcefully than he meant to. Before Olivia could answer, Bella started barking again, this time louder and with an urgency that seemed almost desperate. She took a step back, as if wanting to lead them somewhere else. "She wants us to follow her," Logan said, his voice trembling with both excitement and fear. Jacob, though hesitant, noticed there was something about that dog, something that simply couldn't be ignored. Olivia took Logan's hand, her eyes filled with concern and doubt, but at the same time, a growing need to know the truth. "Let's go, Bella," she finally said. And so, the family followed the dog once more, unaware that the next stop would bring even deeper and more painful revelations. Bella was leading the family to a place that seemed directly connected to their past, but what would be revealed there could change everything they thought they knew about themselves. Bella walked quickly, as if each step were driven by an invisible force. Her eyes were fixed ahead, ignoring everything around her. Logan gripped the edge of his wheelchair tightly, while Jacob pushed cautiously, steering clear of branches and rocks scattered on the forest floor. Olivia followed closely behind, still holding the medallion tightly in her hand, feeling a mixture of anxiety and curiosity that seemed to hang heavy in the air. "She knows exactly where she's going," Jacob murmured, not hiding his discomfort. "But how is that possible? It's like she's being guided by something bigger." Olivia didn't respond. Her eyes were locked on the trail, but her mind was distant, lost in the photo of the woman who seemed so familiar. The silence of the forest was broken only by the sound of the wheelchair's wheels and the rustling of leaves. Bella suddenly stopped, lifting her head as if listening to something humans couldn't hear. "Why did you stop, Bella?" Logan asked, leaning forward in his chair, trying to see what was ahead. Bella glanced at him briefly before starting to dig furiously at the ground with her paws. Dirt flew in all directions, and her short, repetitive barks made it clear that there was something buried there. "What do you think she's trying to show us now?" Olivia asked, kneeling beside the dog to help her dig. With Olivia's help, an object soon began to emerge from the ground. It was a larger metal box, rusted and marked by time. Jacob stepped forward, visibly reluctant, but gave in to Logan's persistent look. He knelt down and pulled the box out with effort. The object was surprisingly heavy, and the inscription on the lid left everyone speechless. For Logan, when the time is right, the phrase seemed to echo in everyone's minds. Who had buried this? And how did Bella know where to find it? Logan's hands trembled as he tried to open the box, but the lid was stuck, as if time had sealed its contents. Jacob brought over a small stick to help force it open. When they finally succeeded, a strong, musty smell escaped, but it was quickly ignored. Inside the box, there was a pile of old documents, some photos, and a sealed envelope with Olivia's name handwritten on the front. She turned pale when she saw her name. "Mom, what does this mean?" Logan asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. Olivia didn't answer immediately. With trembling hands, she picked up the envelope, hesitating for a moment before opening it. Inside, there was a letter. Her eyes scanned the first lines, and suddenly, tears began to roll down her face. "What does it say?" Jacob asked, trying to contain his own anxiety. Olivia looked at him, then at Logan, with an expression of pain and regret that neither of them had ever seen before. "It's a story I never wanted to tell, but now I think I have no choice." As she held the letter against her chest, Bella let out a soft moan, as if sharing the weight of the moment. The revelation contained in the letter promises to change the relationship between Olivia and Logan forever, as long-buried secrets begin to surface. The silence in the room was almost deafening, broken only by the sound of paper being unfolded in Olivia's trembling hands. Her eyes raced through the first lines of the letter, but it seemed she could barely summon the strength to speak. Logan watched every movement of his mother, anxiety building in his chest. "Mom, please say something. What does it say?" He could hardly hide the mix of fear and impatience in his voice. Beside him, Bella sat with her eyes fixed on Olivia, as if she sensed the gravity of the moment. Finally, Olivia took a deep breath and began reading aloud, her voice breaking under the weight of the words. "Dear Olivia, if you are reading this, then the time has come to tell the truth. It's something that should have been said a long time ago, but I never had the courage." The signature at the end of the letter was from a man named Tristan. Logan's eyes widened, the unfamiliar name sparking a flood of questions. Olivia closed her eyes for a moment, as if needing to gather strength before continuing. "Tristan is your biological father's name?" "Logan," she said, her voice barely audible. Shock swept across Logan's face like a wave, his eyes narrowing as he tried to comprehend what he had just heard. "Biological father," he repeated, disbelief marking every syllable. Olivia nodded slowly, tears now freely running down her face. "Tristan was the man I loved before I met Jacob, but he left before I found out I was pregnant. He never knew about you." Jacob, who had remained silent until then, stepped forward. "I've known this from the beginning," he admitted, his voice deep but calm. When I met your mother, she told me everything, and I chose to stay. I chose to be the father you needed, because Logan, you are my son, not by blood, but by love." Jacob's words were sincere, but Logan couldn't shake the whirlwind of emotions that overtook his mind. He looked at Jacob, then at Olivia, feeling betrayed, confused, lost. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Logan asked, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and pain. Olivia took his hand, but he pulled away. "I just wanted to protect you," she replied, almost pleading for understanding. "Tristan never came back because he died in an accident. He didn't even know you existed. I thought hiding this truth was the best thing for you." Logan stared at the photograph of Tristan that Olivia held, seeing for the first time the face of a man he would never get the chance to meet. Meanwhile, Bella approached Logan, pressing her head against his leg, as if she knew he needed comfort. Still shocked by the revelation, Logan began to question everything he thought he knew about himself. But Bella's restlessness continued, signaling that more truths were yet to come. What if it were you in Logan's place? How would you react to discovering such a shocking truth about your family? Leave your thoughts in the comments and share your stories. We can't wait to hear from you. Logan stood still, his eyes fixed on the photograph of Tristan that Olivia held with trembling hands. He seemed oblivious to the world around him, as if the newly revealed words had torn away any sense of solid ground beneath him. Bella, as sensitive as ever, pressed her snout against the boy's leg, but even the affectionate gesture from the dog seemed unable to reach his confused mind. "I need to think," he murmured, not looking at anyone, before turning his wheelchair and heading toward the bedroom. The sound of the wheels echoed through the house, a noise that seemed to carry the full weight of his pain. Olivia sank into the couch, her head in her hands. Jacob approached and placed his hand on her shoulder. "You had no choice," he said softly, but Olivia shook her head. "I should have told him. I lied, Jacob. Even if it was to protect him, I lied." There was a deep anguish in her voice, a mix of guilt and regret. Jacob, though supportive, knew there was little he could say to ease the burden she carried. He looked down the hallway where Logan had disappeared, knowing that the impact of this revelation was far from resolved. Meanwhile, in the bedroom, Logan held the photograph Olivia had given him before he left. He studied Tristan's face, searching for familiar features, something that could connect the stranger to his own identity. "Why didn't you ever try to find me?" he whispered to the image, as if expecting an answer. Bella sat beside him, her silent presence offering a comfort that no words could provide. Logan absent-mindedly stroked her head, but his thoughts were far away, lost in a whirlwind of doubts and uncertainties. Back in the room, Olivia opened the box again, pulling out more letters and items she had hidden for years. Among them, she found a simple necklace with a silver heart-shaped pendant. "He gave me this the day we met," she said, more to herself than to Jacob. "And now, it's all that's left of him." Her voice broke, and Jacob felt a tightness in his chest as he saw her so vulnerable. But before he could respond, the sound of footsteps in the hallway interrupted them. Logan reappeared, holding Bella by the leash. His face was serious, but there was a spark of determination in his eyes. "I want to know everything," he said, his voice steady. "Whatever the truth is, I need to hear it. I don't want to live with secrets anymore." Olivia exchanged a glance with Jacob before nodding slowly. "All right," she said, swallowing hard. "But this story won't be easy to hear." Logan took a deep breath, and Bella at his side seemed ready to face whatever was to come. As Olivia began to tell the story of Tristan and his brief yet intense presence in her life, Logan braced himself to confront a past he never knew existed, and Bella continued to act strangely restless. Olivia settled into the couch, taking a deep breath before starting to share the story she had kept silent about for so long. Logan, sitting in his chair with Bella by his side, watched every move his mother made with attention, his eyes fixed, waiting for answers. "Tristan was different," she began, her voice filled with emotion. "He was impulsive, full of dreams and energy. When we met, I was at a lost point in my life, and he seemed like the only thing that made sense. But his love, it was complicated. As Olivia spoke, her mind drifted back to the past. She described how Tristan had always wanted to live life to the fullest, but was unable to handle responsibilities. I found out I was pregnant shortly after he decided to leave. He said he wanted to explore the world, but he never gave me an address, a phone number, nothing. I found out I was pregnant shortly after he decided to leave. He said he wanted to explore the world, but he never gave me an address, a phone number, nothing. I tried to find him, Logan. I swear I tried. Her words began to falter as she remembered how she had finally learned about the accident that took his life. I was left alone with no options. That's when Jacob came into my life. Logan felt a mix of anger and sadness building inside him. So you just decided it would be easier to tell me a lie than face the truth? His voice was harsh, but there was an obvious tremor in it. Olivia shook her head, tears running down her face. I didn't want you to grow up carrying the weight of knowing you were abandoned. Logan, Jacob loved you like his own from the very first moment. I thought that was enough. Bella, sensing the tension in the air, slowly climbed onto Logan's lap as if she wanted to protect him from this painful moment. Jacob intervened, trying to ease the situation. Logan, your biological father may have been part of your story, but he doesn't define who you are. You are strong, brave, and you have a family that loves you. None of that changes, but Logan couldn't process Jacob's words. He looked at Olivia, then at the necklace still in his hands, and finally at the picture of Tristan on the table. I don't know what to think, he murmured, his voice low, almost a whisper. But I need some time to figure all this out before anyone could say anything. Bella suddenly stood up, rushing to the front door and barking urgently. Her behavior interrupted the tense moment and added a new layer of unease. What is it now, Bella? Logan asked, puzzled. But Bella kept barking, scratching at the door as if something very important was outside. Olivia and Jacob exchanged worried glances. Something was clearly wrong, and the feeling that more secrets were about to be revealed hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Bella's insistence on alerting them to something outside heightens the suspense, suggesting that the revelations about Tristan may not be the only mystery Logan and his family need to face. Bella's restlessness continued. The dog scratched at the door and barked with an urgency that unsettled the family. Logan, sitting in his chair, looked at her with a mix of exhaustion and curiosity. What else do you want to show us? He murmured, while Olivia and Jacob exchanged worried glances. Maybe it's just an animal outside, Jacob said. But Olivia shook her head. No, she's not like this. There's something more. Driven by that sense of mystery, Logan insisted. Dad, open the door. Let's see what it is. Reluctantly, Jacob unlocked the door and Bella ran out into the darkness, stopping under a large tree in the yard. The dog began digging frantically while the family followed her with flashlights lighting up the spot. What has she found now? Logan asked, feeling his heart race. Jacob knelt beside Bella and pulled an object from the ground, an old leather backpack worn by time. Olivia approached, her face pale. What is that? Jacob opened the backpack slowly, revealing yellowed papers and a hardcover notebook. Logan carefully picked up the notebook and read the faded name on the cover. Tristan. The boy flipped through the pages, his breath quickening. It was his biological father's journal. Amid the stories of his life, one sentence caught his attention. One day, he will need to know the truth. I hope Bella is there to guide him. Logan's eyes widened, a wave of emotion and confusion washing over him. He knew about me and about Bella. Silence fell over everyone as Logan held the journal, trying to absorb what he had just read. Bella, sitting beside him, looked at him as if waiting for his next move. Logan sighed deeply and murmured, I don't think this is over yet. As they looked at Bella, one thing became clear. More revelations were coming. The full moon lit up the backyard while the family was still processing the discovery of the diary. Bella, however, didn't seem satisfied. She glanced at Logan and let out a low bark before slowly starting to walk toward the trail leading into the forest behind the house. Logan watched the dog closely, sensing that something bigger was yet to come. She wants us to follow her again, he said, his voice heavy with a mix of fear and determination. Jacob tried to argue. We've had enough for today. Maybe we should wait until tomorrow. But Logan shook his head. No, whatever it is, Bella won't stop. We need to go now. Olivia, holding the diary against her chest, nodded silently, and the family followed the dog. The trail was dark, and the sound of dry leaves crunching under their feet created a tense atmosphere. Bella finally stopped in a clearing where there was an old abandoned cabin partially hidden by the vegetation. The structure looked like it was about to collapse, but something about it caught Logan's attention. "Have you seen this before, Mom?" he asked, looking at Olivia. She hesitated before answering. "I was here once a long time ago with Tristan." Olivia's confession left everyone silent, but Logan didn't wait. With Bella by his side, he approached the cabin door. Jacob tried to stop him, but Olivia placed her hand on his arm. "Let him. He needs this." Logan carefully pushed the door open, and the creak echoed through the night. Inside, the space was filled with dust and forgotten memories. In a corner, an old chest caught his attention. With trembling hands, Logan opened the chest, revealing Tristan's personal belongings, photographs, letters, and a pocket watch. Among the items, there was another letter addressed to Logan. He looked at Olivia before opening it, his heart racing. As he read the first lines, his voice broke. "I knew you would find this someday. I hope Bella guided you here." The connection between Bella and his father became clearer, but the true meaning still remained a mystery. Logan held the letter carefully, Tristan's words echoing in his mind. Bella sat beside him, still as if waiting for him to finish reading. Jacob and Olivia entered the cabin, their eyes scanning the place while Logan read aloud. "If you're here, it means the time has come for you to know who you really are. Bella has always been destined to lead you to this day." Jacob furrowed his brow, trying to make sense of the words. Bella was destined? How could a dog be connected to all of this? Olivia, however, seemed to understand. Tristan was always full of strange ideas, like he believed destiny controlled everything. Maybe he really did plan all of this. Logan continued reading. The letter spoke about how Tristan had found Bella as a puppy just before he died. He had left her with a trusted friend, believing that one day she would be the bridge connecting Logan to his past. "She's not just a dog," Logan murmured, his eyes full of tears. "She's his last message." Inside the chest, Logan found one more thing, a cassette tape with "For Logan" written by hand. Jacob grabbed the object, examining it. "We need a cassette player to listen to this." Olivia remembered seeing an old player in the basement. "Let's take everything back. I think we have more answers to find." Bella, as if she understood that the search in the cabin was over, started walking back toward the trail, leading everyone once again. The family followed in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. But one thing was certain: the tape promised to bring the last piece of the puzzle. As they walked, Logan looked at Bella with gratitude. "You never gave up on me, did you?" The dog looked at him and wagged her tail as if confirming. If you found this story as moving and thought-provoking as we did, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel so you never miss another video. Join us as we continue to explore captivating stories, unearth hidden pasts, and piece together the puzzles of fate. Every video offers a fresh experience, a unique perspective, and stories that will make you ponder life itself. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming videos.